hello out there in Zoom land. So this presentation is called Back to School and Back to Basics. But what I discovered as I was putting this together is this is not basic. Like this is college, right? So think about years in the past when you were getting ready to go to school. What did you have to bring with you day one? What did you need to prepare? Lunch, okay, you had to make sure you had something to eat, or maybe your parents helped you to do that. If you're thinking all the way back to, back to elementary school, middle school, high school. Most of the time, we just kind of showed up, right? And we knew the teacher was going to be there to solve all our problems and to give us everything we needed. Maybe we would have some Crayolas. You might have a brand new, we used to call it a trapper keeper. You all have probably never heard that term because I'm old. Yeah, it was like the very first like zip open portfolio that had your paper and your folders. It was the bomb. And I don't even think we don't say bomb anymore, right? See, so yeah, so I'm old. But there were very few things that we had to show up with because we knew our teacher was going to be there to do everything and to tell us if we didn't have it, she would give it. If we didn't know it, she would tell it. This is college. It's a little bit different. And that's the one thing that from those of you who are coming directly from high school are going to maybe find that this transition is a little difficult. It can be a little bumpy because we're going from being very much kind of teacher-led to being student-led at college. From being kind of centered on what the teacher's doing and the teacher is the center of the universe to you directing your own path, managing your own time, motivating yourself, disciplining yourself. So this can be kind of a difficult transition. So while this is back to basics, it's really not basic. This is like 2.0 or 3.0. Okay, so let's dive right in here. What are we going to talk about today? So I want to make sure that I cover the importance of your My Laurel Ridge portal. That is going to be kind of the center of the universe here. And then how do you complete these assignments? Again, it used to be back in my day, we would write things down, or maybe we had a typewriter. Everything had to be taken directly to the teacher, and your homework actually could be eaten by a dog. That can't happen anymore. No more excuses like that because everything is living in this cloud universe that we're in. And then, how to get help when you need it. Whether that is help from your advisor, which hopefully you've already maybe made a little contact with those in enrollment services and advising to help you on registration and questions like that, but then also academic support and how do you get those things when you need them, okay? So here we go, the My Laurel Ridge portal. So it looks something like this when you log in. Let's see, how many of you have already logged in here? Yes, 100%. I love it. Okay, so let's just go through these real quickly. So I'm going to quiz you then. Let's see what you know. What is SIS?
Student information.
I love it. Student Information System. And what do you find there?
Information about them.
Information about students. I love it. That's the best answer. So in here, you find things about you. It's your personal information, including things like your financial aid and your schedule. In addition to like your address and your phone number, things like that, which by the way, you should always keep your address up to date. If you are transitioning, moving from one place to another, you always have to keep your address up to date with your college. Why? What do we mail to you at the end of this beautiful experience? Your diploma. Believe it or not, when you walk across the stage, it's empty. That little thing they hand you is empty. You probably know that if you've just recently done that with high school, probably the same thing. So always keep this information up to date. How about Canvas?
That's where your assignments are.
That is correct. Canvas is what we call our learning management system, or LMS. Probably you won't hear too many people refer to it as that, but this is where, like, this is the meat and potatoes here. This is where your courses live. So that's very, very important. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that. How about this one? Your Gmail. How many of you have already checked your email? Look at that, that's awesome. It is so vitally important to check your email regularly as you, as you go through your courses. And a lot of the communication nowadays, again, no more pencil and paper, and most of the time, no more phone calls. A lot of the communication, although you certainly can still call and talk to someone here, and you can Zoom and do other things, but much of the communication is going to be via email. So be sure and keep your email checked, right? I believe that you cannot see your email until you have registered at least one class, and then you're considered an active student. So if you out there in Zoom land, I can't tell who's raising hands and nodding heads out there, but if you haven't gotten to your email yet, do that. If you have any problems, it may be, something to do with registering classes. How about a drive? Does it have something to do with your car? I don't know, what is this?
Has your files and data?
Your files, yes. This Google thing is this cloud that we're now living in, where you can type something and you don't have to print it out. You don't have to carry it with you. It's just out there. And as long as you log in, it's out there for you at any time. This is so super convenient and so awesome, because I'll tell you, in my experience, I went from the paper and pencil to the typewriter and the paper. And then there was this period of time where there were these flash drive things that you thought were awesome, but then you lost it. And then you lost your mind because everything in the world was on that flash drive. So this is so much better. It's nothing that you can lose because it's out there. It's not your responsibility. It's somebody else's, Mr. Google out there. And that's where all of your things are going to be kept and secure. In addition to Google, and we're going to talk about this too, you have a Microsoft Office account as a student that you have access to. So you're going to get all of those fun Microsoft Office things like Microsoft Word and Excel and all of those in a format similar to Google. You're going to log in and it's out there, called Microsoft 365. And most of you are probably masters at this. And I'm, talking to you about things that you already could teach me a thing or two about. But you have that as a student. You have an account and you'll need to log in and get that set up for yourself so that you can choose. If you like a Google Doc, that's great. If you like a Microsoft Word doc, either way, you have choices, you have options there. How about Navigate? Yeah, yes, thank you. I love it. So Navigate is kind of like your big to-do list. It's like where your engagement takes place. So you can make appointments there, appointments with advisors, appointments with other like departments here, and you can make appointments for tutoring and academic support. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes too. What else is in Navigate? There's a big list of resources in Navigate. And there is a to-do list in Navigate. So if you are, if your advisor, if you're supposed to make an appointment with your advisor for registration coming up, it'll show up right there and say, here's your to-do, be sure and do this. So while you are kind of on your own, you're really not here. We've got tons of people and resources to help you along the way and gave you some reminders. Virginia Education Wizard, this is an awesome thing. You may have already been exposed to this, maybe in high school or in other college experience. There's a ton of stuff in here. And you're going to see this, I believe, in your first term when you take your SDV class, which is your student development class. And that class is going to give you like a ton of information. It's going to expand on everything that I'm going to touch on today just briefly. So that is a super important class. And I think you may use this to complete some of your assignments in that class. Credits to careers, not going to dive into this. Again, this is a resource. Just know that there are other ways to get college credit. One of the main ways that comes to my mind, because I didn't introduce myself, did I? My name is Sonia, and I work in testing and tutoring. And one of the main ways that you can easily get credit without taking a class is to complete a CLEP exam. Has anyone heard about that? You can CLEP out of a class? Holy moly. Okay, let me tell you about this. So CLEP is the college level examination program. And if you believe that you have gathered enough knowledge, either through your formal education or work experience or whatever, you can pay about $90, cheaper than tuition for a class, and you can go into the testing center and you can sit down and take an exam in, math classes or English classes or history class or a language class. And if you score well enough on that test, then the college accepts that as credit and you don't have to take the class. So that's really pretty cool. And that is called CLEP, C-L-E-P. And that's just one of the ways that you can get college credit without going to class. Okay. One of the main ways that we think about here is through transfer. So you can go to a four-year university. You don't have to actually have to take the class there. You can transfer it in from Laurel Ridge, which is the whole focus of this little application right there. Zoom, we're Zooming right now. Everybody's Zooming these days, and you also can Zoom, and you could Zoom with your classmates. If you wanted to set up a study group, but you all can't get to the campus at the same time to meet at the library or whatever, you yourself have a Zoom account now as a student, and you can create a Zoom meeting, share it with some of your classmates, and you guys can get together and have a study group. I highly recommend study groups. Last but not least, Timely Care. And Timely Care is a virtual mental health program or application here where students can talk about something that's causing them stress. If they just need to talk to someone 24 hours a day, that's available. If they need recommendations on how to build better habits or get rid of some not so good habits, there's a lot of resources there. So this is a fantastic thing, and it's absolutely free for students. Students can receive counseling, I believe 6 counseling sessions actually, with a real live counselor, and then even transition and have referrals for other services if needed. It's really awesome. It's provided to you absolutely free. So, if you yourself are feeling stressed out, or if you ever encounter a classmate who you feel really is just stressed and needs somebody to talk to, remember this and refer this or recommend it to somebody. Okay. So that is your My Laurel Ridge portal. So let's keep it rolling. So we talked about the email, and your email address is your username that you use to log in to the portal plus email.vccs.edu. It's kind of long, but it's not so hard to remember. Oh, by the way, what does VCCS stand for?
Virginia Community College Services
System.
System.
That was so close, and I gotta tell you, I worked here for like a month before I knew that. We use all kinds of acronyms here at the college. Like I just said, oh, take a CLEP. What's a CLEP? What's VCCS? Okay, SAP. People, you might hear SAP. That means satisfactory academic progress. So we speak in a language all our own here. Please, by all means, if you're ever talking with a teacher, an advisor, or someone, and they come up with one of those words or something that you don't understand, stop them and ask them, because literally it was like a month and I was too silly to ask somebody what that meant. Okay. This is just a personal recommendation. If you are doing anything that's academic or professional, use your student email. You know, that's okay. It's your email. And if I'm an employer and I look at that email, I'm gonna go, whoa, .edu, this person is in college or has recently finished college. I'm gonna be impressed by that. If I get your resume or I get an email from you that says Hot Mama 2024, I might not look at your resume first. So just be aware of that. You have this very professional, awesome email at your disposal, but I wouldn't mix business and pleasure, you know? Keep your other stuff out there in your Yahoo, and anything that's academic or professional, use this account. Yes,
Do you lose access to it once you are no longer at Laurel Ridge?
I don't believe so, at least not for a period of
Yeah,
time.
there's a chunk of time.
There's a
you still
window.
have it.
And it's a pretty big window. It's not like 2 days or 2 weeks. I think it's more like
Months,
like
years.
months or years. It's a long time. So you will have access. All right. So here we go. Microsoft Office and Google. We've already talked about this. You will have access to both of these as a student, provided to you at no cost, which is, you know, that's pretty big, because if you go to buy Microsoft Office, a few $100 at least for that suite of applications. So, sweet, pretty sweet, and we give it to you for free. And this Google Drive, you will find a link to that, as we saw, right on your My Laurel Ridge. But how do you get Microsoft Office? Let's look at that. Next one. Oh, maybe 2 more. We talked about Canvas already, so we don't really need to go back to that. Here, so this screenshot here, this is what you see when you're inside Canvas, which is your learning management system right here, okay? It's the one that looks like a red, kind of a bullseye or something. So here, once you are logged in, if you look all the way down to the bottom, there is a link on the left-hand side that says LSCC resources. And there you will see information about Canvas, how to get 24/7 access to support if you have a Canvas issue, like it's not loading, I need help, my class won't open, my module won't open. You can get access to support there. There is a student tutorial that's really important that you do. When you log into Canvas, you're going to see a little green icon or a tile there, which each one of your classes will show up as its own little tile within Canvas once you have classes. There should be a tile there now called Building with Canvas, and that is a tutorial. It doesn't just take a minute, it takes a little while, because it steps you through everything from how to send and retrieve an email, because you have an email inbox within Canvas, to how to participate in a discussion board or how to submit a paper. So it covers all of that, and it does take a little bit of time, but it is so valuable. You really must do that. Zoom,
Oh,
sorry.
I got ahead of it.
This is gonna give you some information about Zoom. If you are new to Zooming and you wanted to set up that study group, this would tell you how to do it, how to go about inviting people, and so on and so forth. Respondus Lockdown Browser. Anybody can tell me what a lockdown browser does?
You know, it's for taking tests or quizzes.
Yeah, absolutely. So it does just what it says. It locks down your browser. So if your instructor wants you to take an online exam, but they want to make sure that while you're in that test, that you're not Googling the answer, you're not using some kind of AI to help you with that, they can lock down your browser using this application and ensure that you're not doing that, okay? And that is what it's called. Respondus is the one that we use. So if your instructor says, we're going to do a test and it's going to be online and it's using Respondus, now you understand a little bit of what that means. When you log on, whether you're at the testing center here or you're at home, depending on what your instructor requires or recommends for that, you're going to just launch an app that then secures your browser and only lets you have that one tab open. Very simple. Sometimes your instructor will say, we're going to use Respondus with recording. That means wherever you are, probably most likely at home. We don't really record in the testing center, but if you are at home taking a test and your instructor wants just one more layer of security for the exam, or maybe they want to ensure that the person who is taking the exam is actually the person that's registered in their class and not, you know, an older sibling or somebody who's already been through that class. There is a video recording part of Respondus in which you sit down at your laptop and then the video is being recorded of you during the time that you're taking the exam. Does it feel a little creepy? I have to tell you, it probably does. I think it does. You know, you have to kind of get used to that being watched while you're taking the exam, okay? But it is a part of what we do here for exam integrity. So you may experience that. If you ever want to get past that, tell your teacher, I don't want to be on recording, but I'll go to the testing center and they can help us set that up for you most of the time. Under computing, here is where you're going to get information about how to sign up for that Microsoft Office account. This is important. So if you haven't been given a link to do that already by your advisor or given some other pathway for that, once you get into your classes, go to resources, look for computing, and within here, there is a link to Microsoft and instructions on using your student's email account to sign up for this. You have to get an account, okay? And a lot of other kind of troubleshooting stuff in there. Google for your classroom. So if you are not too familiar with Google Drive, or maybe not all of the apps here, you can get anything from YouTube videos to print out tutorials on how to use things. Like maybe you've never used the, I think it's called Slides. Maybe Google Slides is like the equivalent of Microsoft PowerPoint. So maybe you've never used that and you not quite sure where all the buttons are. There are some things there, resources that can tell you. And then Instructional Technology Office. We refer to that as ITO because we love letters. So ITO is Instructional Technology Office. And they can help, that's an office here within the college. So if you are here, or if you need help with your Canvas, or there's something with your email account that's not working correctly, this would be the resource for you. And here you can find a link to a kind of a help form where you fill out and give them contact information so that they can contact you and help you to get things straightened out. Okay, so look for that inside Canvas. Remember, go all the way down on the left-hand side to resources and you'll have access to all of these boxes there. So how about academic resources? After all, that's what we're doing here most of the time, academics. So we have course tutoring and we have academic skills coaching here at the campus. Those are campus-based tutors who are employees. They're hired to come and sit here in our tutoring centers here or at Buck here or wherever. And they're going to be in person, they're going to be in Zoom, and they're here to help. They cover things like math and English, especially writing papers. They can do a paper review for you. They cover science classes. Not every tutor's here every day, so there is a schedule that you have to access. And I think you all know how to schedule an appointment now because you told us, but you use Navigate for that. One of the biggest things that I can recommend to you is if you know that yourself, that you are not so great at managing time, and let's be serious, nobody manages time. We can't change time. We can't stretch it. We can't shrink it. We can't push it off to the next day. The only thing we can manage is ourselves within the amount of time that we have, which is the same for everybody. Everybody gets 24 hours in a day, but some people are just a little better at, you know, negotiating those hours and moving things around. The number one reason that people struggle is not because they're not academically prepared or maybe not so great at math. I hear that a lot in the tutoring center. I'm just not good at math. Most of the time, it's not that. It's not, I don't I can't, I can't solve this math problem, or I can't write this paper. Mostly, it's not being able to prioritize your time or your tasks and not being able to organize things. So, like I said, when we first started, this isn't basic. This is an upgrade here. Because you're going to have multiple classes, multiple assignments, all juggling. But sometimes they're all gonna be due on the same day. Ugh, that stinks. So you're going to have to learn how to organize yourself, whether that is organization like keeping your notes separate in a notebook, from the very basic stuff like that, to making yourself a schedule that says, okay, on Monday, I'm working on math. On Tuesday, I'm gonna write the draft of that paper. You're going to have to learn how to do that. And if you don't know how to do that, that's okay. That is a learned skill, just like solving the math problem. Nobody teaches us how to learn. We don't ever really learn how to learn. We just, we hit the ground running at kindergarten and everyone's just stuffing information at us. But no one ever sat down and said, okay, you're gonna start learning now, so here's how you learn. It's not all automatic. Some of it is a skill that you have to work at, and you have to work at mastering that. If that's the case, if you ever struggle with those things, come to the tutoring center, or remember my name. My name is Sonia, and I specialize in this kind of thing, organizing your thoughts, your day, your papers, whatever it is, and managing your time. So you can make an appointment with me, and there are subjects called academic success skills or time management, and you can come see me. And if you're struggling with making an appointment, don't worry about it. Just come to the tutoring center, which here is in the back of the library, here on the Middletown campus. Just walk in. I'm here almost every day. So this is how you make that navigate appointment. Navigate student, just go to appointments, and then it walks you through. It's so self-explanatory. It'll ask you where you want to meet, what do you want to meet about, what is the subject matter, and then it'll give you a list of days and times, and you just select what's good for you. Okay. If you are a student who is mostly taking online classes, or if your schedule doesn't generally allow for you to be here at the campus, there is also something we call Brain Fuse. Brain Fuse is another one of those icons on your My Laurel Ridge. Brain Fuse is a tutoring company that we partner with to provide that academic support to our students during all the days and times that our tutors here at the campus are not available. Brain Fuse is pretty much 24/7 and 365. So you can log in and say, hey, I need live help right now, even if it's 2 a.m. And you can dial up somebody that is a tutor for math. You can submit a paper to them. If you need a quick turnaround, like 24 hours and it's a weekend, I recommend that, because our campus tutors will want to have time to read the paper and then meet with you to talk about how to maybe improve your paper. This will give you a really quick paper review on the fly. So I recommend that. In addition, can't see it up there because of the toolbar, but there is a section of academic skills within Brain Fuse. That's really cool. If you're the kind of person that likes to learn by playing games, things like flashcards, all kinds of resources here. And again, this is absolutely free. If you are looking for something like that and you go, gosh, what did that lady say about Brain Fuse? I don't know. Come by and talk to me. I'll show you how to find all of those things. You can create games, you can play games, and it's really a fun way to learn. You can incorporate that into whatever other strategies you're using. And if you don't have any strategies, come see me. And with that, I believe that may conclude our session. So I've talked a whole lot, and I only have one mouth and 2 ears, so I should be doing twice as much listening as talking in order to best help you. So is there anything that I didn't talk about today that you have thought about, or you're maybe not sure about how to go about doing, or finding, anything at all?
Books.
Books, okay, awesome. So our bookstore is in the, I always get this confused because I say Student Union Building because that was what mine was called. So the Student Union Building, I'm sorry, I always want to call it the hub because
Yeah.
that's what mine was
Yeah.
called. So ours is SUB, Student Union Building, and I'm probably pointing in the wrong direction because I am so geographically challenged. It's amazing that I make it to work every day. But it's here, like on the far end, it's another building and the bookstore is there. So there are multiple ways that you can get books. Many of our books are electronic books. Many of our resources now, our books are called open educational resources. Again, you'll hear people say, oh, that's an OER. Well, that's what that means. That means that you don't have to pay for it. Yes, it's an open resource that you would access through a PDF link or something like that. You can rent books. There's all kinds of stuff. If you're using financial aid, you can use financial aid. In most circumstances, I shouldn't say all because there are, certain circumstances maybe that you can't, but most of the time you can apply financial aid funds towards books purchase as well. But your advisor is going to have lots of information for you about that as we get closer to the start of classes, which is when?
August 26th.
Yeah, August 26th, for most everyone, I believe. Yeah. Any other questions, concerns? Yes,
Who will we go to for add drop period? Like, I believe there's gonna be a week where we have to add and drop, but who we go?
there
to?
is, yes, and you know what, our website is really cool in that it works really well on keywords. So if you go on our website and you go in the search bar and you type in calendar, it'll take you right to our academic calendar. And then it's going to show you that there are 2 days generally where you can make decisions about classes that you're going to keep or maybe not. So that is called add drop period, those 2 couple days. Then there is kind of a week's period where you could maybe make another decision about a course and still receive a portion or all of your tuition, depending. So it's kind of a graduated thing. If you're in there 2 days, you probably don't have to pay much. If you're in there 2 months, yeah, you're gonna pay for that class. There's also then another deadline called the withdrawal deadline, which means if you are taking a class and things are maybe not going so well, but you decide to stick with it, you're past add drop and you're gonna try to do it, but you get to this period of time where you know that you're gonna probably fail the class and you don't want an F on your transcript, right? There is a time where you can withdraw without a grade penalty. Now, you're not gonna get like success points for that. It's not gonna be a completed class on your transcript, but it will show a W for withdrawn instead of an F, which doesn't impact your grade point average. Okay, so that's another deadline. And all of that information is under the academic calendar. Anything from the Zoom crew?
Oh,
All right.
Can you do assignments at the school when it's a weekday and you're outside of class?
Absolutely. So there are computers everywhere here. The library has probably about 200 of them, I think. So yes, that is something that I encourage when I'm talking with people about managing their time and organizing their time. One of the things that I recommend is put yourself in an environment that leads to less distraction. Where are you going to get more work done? Typically, sitting in the library quiet where you look around and everybody else is doing homework, or sitting at home on your bed where your TV's there, your phone's right beside you, your cute kitten needs to be petted, he's on the end of the bed. So all of these things are distractors. So put yourself in a place where it's less distracting. So yes, by all means, you can log into your Google Drive and access your documents or your Microsoft Office account. And there are tons of places here where you can hide away and be completely undistracted. Here at Middletown, our library has study rooms that you can reserve, and you go in there and you close the door and no one sees you and you see no one and you're totally focused that way. I hope that was the question that you had.
We're also open on the weekends until 5.
Yes,
and, like,
absolutely.
Nobody's here.
Yes. So even though most departments are not here on Saturday, Sunday, the college itself is open. And you can, you can come in and access, bring your laptop, find a nice quiet place. Yeah, absolutely. Anything else? Awesome. Well, I am so happy to be here today. I love to talk, if you couldn't tell that. And I look forward to helping you if you ever have any questions, and if, it doesn't matter what it's regarding. If you have a question and you just don't know who to ask, please come see me. I sit in the back of the tutoring center, in the back of the library, so baby is all the way in the corner. You guys probably haven't even seen Dirty Dancing. Oh my gosh, I'm so old, I'm so old. But anyway, that's another topic. I'll go and sit in the back of the tutoring center and have a conversation with myself about that. But please come see me if you have any questions or concerns. I look forward to helping you. All right? Awesome. Rock on.